In your working folder, you will find an image called pyramid.psd, and I can't believe this image is over a quarter of a century old. It was done with traditional film and digitized later in its life. Now, I like the image, but I don't like the sky. It's too dark. I want to fix that. In the previous lesson, we looked at making an image lighter or darker using an overlay blending mode on a layer and then painting areas we had previously selected with a shade of gray, lighter or darker. Another way we can use the same technique that actually works pretty good is with a gradient if what you're trying to do is a gradual thing and not something that begins and ends on a point, like the sky. This stuff down here is fine. This is the stuff that slowly needs to get lighter. So let's do this. Create a new layer. Let's call that layer overlay. Change the blending mode to overlay. What we want is a gradient. A neutral gray doesn't change things. White would make things lighter. So what I want is a gradient that goes from a neutral gray to white. Now, if you can't find your neutral gray up here, click this little button in swatches and go into small list and find something around a 55% gray. Go ahead and click it. Now that will change the foreground color here. I want to work with white on the top. So I'm going to click this little bent arrow right there and reverse the two colors or press the letter X on your keyboard. Either way, here's the gradient tool right there. Click this triangle here and make sure you have this gradient selected. You may see different stuff up here, but you will see that one. That's foreground to background color. And make sure you have this one right here selected. Now, we don't really talk that much about this, but make sure things like your blending mode is normal and your opacity is at 100%. Those are defaults. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gradient tool in the overlay layer and I'm going to start right about here. Now it starts with white and goes down to the neutral gray. So wherever I stop, it will stop adjusting the image. So I'm going to click here and drag down to about, say, there. Now as you can see, what happened is this area more or less stayed the same. This area got a little bit lighter, but not enough for my taste. So what do? Select the overlay layer and make a copy of it. Easiest way, Control key in Windows, Command key on a Mac, and the letter J. Now you can do it again. Every time you do it, it gets lighter. That's actually not too bad. So you say, well, Andy, I don't like this one, but this one was just a little bit too much. Well, change the opacity on that last one and bring in some of the other two and part of this one until you get it exactly where you want it to be. Now I can Alt-click on that Show Hide button right here. That's a trick. That's Alt in Windows and Option on a Mac to show you the before and the after. The gradient takes this dodge and burn technique to another level. It allows us to do it over a gradual area and blend it into an image. But it's another non-destructive way to do a little bit of dodging and a little bit of burning.